What if the greatest battles of your life have nothing to do with weapons, enemies, or war? What if the real battlefield is hidden inside your mind, where fear competes with courage, distractions fight against focus, and emotions constantly challenge your judgment? Every day, people lose opportunities not because they lack talent, but because they walk into life's battles without a strategy. They react instead of preparing. They argue instead of understanding. They chase quick victories instead of lasting success. Centuries ago, a brilliant strategist discovered principles that transformed ordinary people into masters of decision-making. Although these lessons were born on ancient battlefields, they remain just as powerful today in business, relationships, careers, and personal growth. This audiobook is not about teaching you how to defeat other people. It is about teaching you how to master yourself. Think ahead, stay calm under pressure, and make choices that quietly lead you towards success. Because the strongest person is rarely the one who fights the hardest. More often, it is the one who knows when to act, when to wait, and when to walk away. If you're ready to stop living by chance and start living with strategy, then this journey begins now. Chapter 1. The greatest victory begins within most people. Imagine success as something that happens in the outside world. They believe the biggest obstacles are difficult bosses, unfair competitors, bad luck, or limited opportunities. Yet if you observe carefully, you'll notice something remarkable. Two people can face the exact same challenge and produce completely different results. One grows stronger, the other gives up. The difference is rarely the situation itself. The difference is the strategy they bring into it. Imagine two climbers standing at the base of the same mountain. One rushes upward, eager to reach the top before sunset. The other quietly studies the weather, examines the path, packs the right equipment, and begins climbing only after careful preparation. Hours later, the first climber is exhausted, lost, and frustrated. The second reaches the summit with confidence. The mountain never changed. Only the approach did. Life works in exactly the same way. Many people spend years trying to control everything around them while ignoring the one thing they truly can control: their own mind. They allow anger to make decisions for them. They let fear delay important actions. They compare themselves endlessly with others until they forget their own purpose. True strategy begins long before any action is taken. It begins with awareness. Before making an important decision, pause for a moment and ask yourself a simple question. Am I reacting emotionally or responding intelligently? That single question has the power to change your future. Think about a workplace disagreement. Someone criticizes your work during a meeting. Your first instinct may be to defend yourself immediately. But emotions often create unnecessary battles. A strategic thinker remains calm, listens carefully, and responds only after understanding the situation. Days later, while everyone else remembers the argument, they remember your professionalism. Calmness is not weakness. It is controlled strength. The same principle applies to relationships. Many friendships and families are damaged not because people stop caring, but because they react faster than they think. A single emotional sentence can create pain that lasts for years. Strategic people understand that winning an argument is meaningless if it costs a valuable relationship. Self-discipline follows naturally from this mindset. Every meaningful goal demands consistency more than motivation. Motivation rises and falls like the weather. Discipline quietly continues, even on difficult days. The people we admire most are not always the most talented. They are often the ones who learn to stay focused when excitement disappeared. Consider an athlete preparing for an important competition. The audience only sees the final performance, but they never witness the early mornings, the repeated failures, or the ordinary days when training felt impossible. Victory is earned long before the competition begins. Your life follows the same pattern. Every small habit becomes preparation for a future challenge you cannot yet see. Reading instead of endlessly scrolling, exercising when you feel tired, saving money instead of spending impulsively, learning a new skill while others procrastinate. These quiet decisions become invisible advantages over time. The world often celebrates dramatic success stories, but lasting success is usually built through invisible preparation. Another important lesson is learning the difference between activity and progress. Being busy does not always mean moving forward. Many people fill every hour with tasks, but never stop to ask whether those tasks actually lead them toward their goals. Strategic thinking requires stepping back. Sometimes the smartest move is not doing more. It is doing what matters most. Every morning presents a choice. You can allow your day to control you, or you can decide your priorities before the world demands your attention. The second choice may feel slower at first, but over months and years it creates extraordinary results. The greatest victory is not defeating another person. It is becoming someone who cannot easily be defeated by fear, distraction, impatience, or self-doubt. Once you begin mastering your own thoughts, external challenges lose much of their power, because every battle in life is first won or lost inside the mind. Chapter 2. Winning before the battle begins. Imagine watching two chess players sitting across from each other. To an outsider, the game begins the moment the first piece is moved. But an experienced player knows the truth. The real game started long before either hand touched the board. It began with preparation, study, observation, and understanding. Life works the same way. Most people believe success is created in the moment of action. They think a job interview is won during the interview itself. A business succeeds after it launches. Or a relationship becomes strong simply because two people care about each other. But strategy teaches a different lesson. The outcome is often decided long before the visible battle begins. Preparation is one of the quietest forms of power. Think about a student preparing for an important exam. One student waits until the final week, hoping pressure will somehow create motivation. Another studies a little every day, reviews mistakes, and builds confidence over time. When exam day arrives, both sit in the same room with the same questions, yet their experiences are completely different. One fights panic. The other simply demonstrates what they already know. Success is rarely about luck. It is usually the reward for invisible preparation. The same principle applies in your career. Before attending an important meeting, do you understand the people in the room? Have you prepared your ideas? Have you anticipated difficult questions? The professionals who appear naturally confident are often the ones who invested hours preparing when no one was watching. Preparation removes fear because fear often grows from uncertainty. There is another powerful habit that separates strategic thinkers from impulsive ones. They observe before they act. Imagine walking into a new workplace. Some people immediately begin speaking, offering opinions on everything. Others spend the first few days quietly watching. They notice how decisions are made, who influences the team, what problems exist, and where opportunities are hidden. By observing first, they avoid unnecessary mistakes and earn trust through thoughtful action. Observation is not passivity. It is intelligent patience. In everyday life, many conflicts begin because people assume instead of understanding. A friend doesn't reply to your message, and you immediately think they are ignoring you. A colleague looks serious, and you assume they are upset with you. Acting on assumptions creates problems that never needed to exist. Strategic people collect facts before reaching conclusions. Another lesson is learning to protect your energy. Many people waste enormous amounts of time arguing with strangers online, trying to prove themselves to people who have already made up their minds, or chasing opportunities that don't align with their goals. Every unnecessary battle steals energy from the battles that truly matter. Ask yourself, is this worth my time? Will this argument improve my future? Will this decision move me closer to my purpose? Often, the strongest answer is silence. Silence gives you time to think. It prevents emotional decisions. It allows others to reveal more than they intended. In many situations, the person who speaks the least learns the most. Preparation also means preparing your mind for setbacks. Even the best strategy cannot remove every obstacle. Plans sometimes fail. Opportunities disappear. People disappoint you. The difference is that strategic thinkers expect challenges. Because they expect them, they don't panic when they arrive. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" they ask, "What is this situation teaching me?" That simple shift transforms problems into lessons. History is filled with people who failed many times before achieving greatness. Entrepreneurs built successful companies after earlier businesses collapsed. Athletes lost championships before becoming legends. Leaders faced rejection before earning respect. Their victories were possible because they prepared not only for success, but also for failure. Preparation is more than collecting information. It is developing the mindset that remains calm when plans change. Every day gives you an opportunity to prepare for a future version of yourself. The book you read today may solve a problem you'll face next year. The skill you practice now may create an opportunity you never imagined. The discipline you build today may carry you through the hardest season of your life. Nothing learned with intention is ever wasted. The people who seem lucky are often those who prepared long before opportunity arrived. And when opportunity finally knocked, they were ready. Not because life became easier, but because they had become stronger. The greatest victories rarely belong to those who react the fastest. They belong to those who prepared the best. Chapter 3. The Power of Adaptability. Why Rigid Minds Always Lose. Picture a mighty oak tree standing beside a river. It looks unshakable, its thick trunk reaching confidently into the sky. Nearby grows a slender bamboo plant. Compared to the oak, it seems weak and fragile. Then a violent storm arrives. Powerful winds crash through the valley, rain pounds the earth, and the river begins to rise. The oak resists with all its strength. The bamboo bends with every gust. When the storm finally passes, The oak lies broken on the ground. The bamboo is still standing. The lesson is simple but profound. Strength is not always about resisting. Sometimes true strength is the ability to adapt. Many people spend years creating detailed plans for their lives. They decide exactly how their careers should unfold, how relationships should develop, or how success should look. Planning is valuable, but life rarely follows a perfect script. Unexpected setbacks appear without warning. A company closes. A trusted friend leaves. A new technology changes an entire industry. Those who refuse to adapt often become trapped by yesterday's thinking. The world rewards flexibility more than stubbornness. Think about someone who started a business using methods that worked 10 years ago. They ignore new technology, reject fresh ideas, and believe change is unnecessary. Meanwhile, another entrepreneur constantly learns, experiments, and improves. Both work hard, but only one continues to grow, because growth belongs to those who evolve. The same principle applies to your personal life. Imagine receiving criticism about your work. One response is to become defensive, insisting that everyone else is wrong. Another response is to pause and ask, is there something here I can learn? Even if the criticism is unfair, there may still be a small lesson hidden inside it. People who improve the fastest are not those who avoid criticism. They are those who know how to learn from it. Adaptability begins with humility. Humility doesn't mean doubting your abilities. It means accepting that there is always more to learn. The moment you believe you know everything is the moment you stop growing. There is another challenge that often prevents people from adapting: fear of change. The human brain naturally prefers what feels familiar. Even when our current situation is unhealthy, we often remain there simply because it is comfortable. We stay in jobs that no longer inspire us. We hold on to habits that damage our health. We avoid difficult conversations because uncertainty feels frightening. But comfort has a hidden cost. Every day spent avoiding necessary change is a day that future opportunities quietly disappear. Growth almost always begins where comfort ends. Think about learning a new language, starting a fitness journey, or developing a new skill. At first, everything feels awkward. Mistakes are frequent. Progress seems painfully slow. Many people quit during this stage because they mistake discomfort for failure. In reality, discomfort is often evidence that growth is happening. The most successful individuals understand that being a beginner is not embarrassing. Remaining unwilling to learn is. Adaptability also means adjusting your emotional responses. Not every setback deserves the same reaction. Missing one opportunity doesn't mean your future is ruined. One rejection doesn't define your worth. One failure doesn't erase your potential. Strategic thinkers separate temporary events from permanent identity. Instead of saying, "I failed, therefore I'm a failure," they say, "That attempt failed. Now I'll improve my approach." That single shift in perspective protects confidence while encouraging growth. Nature offers another powerful reminder. Water never argues with obstacles. When it encounters a rock, it doesn't stop moving. It simply finds another path. Sometimes it flows around the obstacle. Sometimes it slowly shapes the obstacle itself through patience. Life often rewards those who think like water. There will always be people who underestimate you, unexpected problems that interrupt your plans, and moments when nothing seems to work. In those moments, don't ask, Why is everything changing? Instead, ask, how can I change with it? Because the people who survive difficult seasons are not always the strongest, the smartest, or the fastest. They are often the ones who remain willing to learn, adjust, and keep moving forward. The future doesn't belong to those who cling to the past. It belongs to those who can face uncertainty with courage, remain calm when plans collapse, and transform every challenge into a new beginning. The greatest strategist is not the one who never changes direction. It is the one who always knows why to change and when. Chapter 4. Choosing your battles. Why every fight is not worth winning. Imagine carrying a backpack filled with heavy stones. At first, you barely notice the weight, but as the hours pass, every step becomes harder. Your shoulders ache, your breathing slows, and the destination feels farther away than ever. Now imagine stopping for a moment and looking inside that backpack. Most of the stones aren't necessities. They represent old arguments, unnecessary competition, the need to always be right, the habit of comparing yourself with others, and the opinions of people you'll probably never meet again. How much farther could you travel if you simply put those stones down? One of the greatest mistakes people make is believing they must respond to every challenge, every insult, and every disagreement. They treat every conflict as if it deserves their full attention. But a strategic mind understands something different. Not every battle deserves your energy. Think about someone who spends hours arguing with strangers on social media. They type long replies, defend every opinion, and constantly check for responses. At the end of the day, they feel mentally exhausted, but nothing meaningful has changed. The argument didn't improve their life, strengthen their relationships, or move them closer to their goals. The cost of that battle was invisible, yet enormous. Time, focus, and peace of mind. Energy is one of your most valuable resources. Unlike money, you cannot earn more hours in a day. Every minute spent on a meaningless conflict is a minute taken away from your dreams, your family, your health, or your future. Strategic people guard their energy carefully. This doesn't mean avoiding every difficult conversation. Some conversations are necessary. Standing up for your values, protecting the people you love, or addressing an important problem requires courage. The difference is that these battles have purpose. Before entering any conflict, ask yourself 3 simple questions. Will this matter a year from now? Will this help me grow? Is the outcome worth the emotional cost? If the answer to all 3 is no, walking away is often the wisest decision. Many people confuse silence with weakness. They believe that if they don't respond immediately, others will think they've lost. But silence can be one of the strongest responses. Imagine a successful leader during a tense meeting. A colleague unfairly criticizes them in front of everyone. Instead of reacting with anger, the leader listens quietly, thanks the person for their perspective, and calmly continues the discussion. At first glance, it may seem like they surrendered. In reality, they remained in control while everyone else lost theirs. Emotional control is a quiet form of strength. When someone else controls your emotions, they control your decisions. But when you remain calm under pressure, you keep your power. This lesson extends beyond conversations. Sometimes the battle you need to avoid is the one inside your own mind. You compare your progress to someone else's success and suddenly feel like you're falling behind. You replay old mistakes before going to sleep. You worry about problems that haven't even happened yet. These invisible battles steal more happiness than most external challenges ever could. A strategic thinker recognizes these mental traps. Instead of asking, "Why am I not where they are?" they ask, "Am I better than I was yesterday?" That question shifts your focus from comparison to growth. There is another important principle. Don't allow your ego to become your commander. Ego whispers, "You must prove them wrong." Wisdom quietly asks, "Do they really matter?" Ego demands recognition. Wisdom pursues results. History remembers people for what they built, not for every argument they won. The most respected individuals rarely waste time trying to convince everyone. They let their work speak louder than their words. Imagine two archers preparing for a competition. One spends all morning watching the other competitors, criticizing their techniques and worrying about who might win. The second archer quietly adjusts their bow, practices their breathing, and focuses entirely on the target ahead. When the competition begins, only one of them is mentally prepared. Where attention goes, performance follows. Every distraction weakens your aim. Every unnecessary battle divides your focus. Every emotional reaction gives away a little of your strength. The people who achieve extraordinary things aren't necessarily those who fight the most battles. They're the ones who choose the right battles and commit to them with everything they have. As you move through life, you'll face countless invitations to argue, compete, complain, and defend yourself. You don't have to accept every invitation. Sometimes the greatest victory is preserving your peace. Sometimes the strongest response is quiet confidence. And sometimes the smartest move is simply to keep walking toward your purpose, while others remain distracted by battles that were never worth fighting. Because in the end, success doesn't belong to the person who wins every argument. It belongs to the person who never loses sight of what truly matters. Conclusion: the battle that truly matters. As this journey comes to an end, one truth becomes impossible to ignore. The greatest victories are rarely won against other people. They are won against the fear that tells you to give up, the doubt that whispers you're not enough, and the distractions that slowly pull you away from your purpose. Life will continue to test you. There will be moments when your plans fail, when opportunities disappear, and when success feels frustratingly out of reach. Those moments are not signs that you should stop. They are invitations to think more clearly, adapt more wisely, and move forward with greater intention. Real strength isn't found in always being the loudest person in the room. It's found in staying calm when everyone else is panicking. It's found in choosing discipline over comfort, patience over impulse, and purpose over ego. Every decision you make today is shaping the person you'll become tomorrow. The books you read, the habits you build, the conversations you have, and the way you respond to challenges are all quietly writing the story of your future. Don't wait for the perfect moment. There will always be uncertainty. There will always be obstacles. Progress belongs to those who begin anyway. Remember, success is not a single victory. It is the result of hundreds of small, consistent decisions made when no one is watching. Every step forward, no matter how small, brings you closer to the life you want to create. So from this moment on, face every challenge with a clear mind. Learn before you react. Observe before you judge. Adapt when circumstances change. Protect your energy and never lose sight of what truly matters. The world doesn't need another person who simply dreams about greatness. It needs people who quietly build it, one thoughtful decision, one disciplined habit, and one courageous step at a time. Thank you for spending this time with me. If these ideas inspired you, don't let them remain just words. Put them into action today, because knowledge has power only when it becomes action. And always remember, the most important battle of your life is not against the world. It is the one you fight within yourself. Win that battle, and every other challenge becomes easier to face. Thank you for listening.